Good morning. Welcome to Ramblings with Joe. So I woke up this morning and I read the news and the whole ICE thing. They're going to replace the leadership in Minnesota with Tom, I think he pronounces his name, Homan. And he's, from what I understand and from what I've seen, he's a bit more of a, well, for lack of a better term, a bit more of a hard ass than who they have there now. Not sure where this is headed, but it may not be a good spot for America. Let's put that aside. I also read an article about what Americans are calling house burping. Well, because Americans have to have their own name, and we don't speak German. So evidently there's some apartments in Germany that require you to open your windows 2 times daily, no matter what the weather. And they have a different word than house burping. The Americans' ability to come up with the most ridiculous names for things is beyond compare worldwide. So I'm going to call it house burping. Traditionally in America, what we do is spring cleaning. And spring cleaning, you open all the windows and you get rid of all the dust. If I did that here at this house in Georgia, my house would be so overrun with pollen that everything in here would be yellow. That's not something that I have ever thought about doing. As a matter of fact, usually when everybody in the northern climes of America are doing their spring cleaning, I'm thinking of ways to, clamp down the airtightness of my house so that no more pollen can enter. M is still asleep, and I am going to verify this with her because there's a lot of things that, come to America from Germany that actually didn't originate in Germany and she's not familiar with. But the idea of house burping twice daily, no matter what the weather, I was completely amazed by. Of course, they live in a much, drier climate than we do. It is very humid in Georgia most days. Not today. Today it is 16 degrees outside. I'm not sure what the weather's going to be later today, but let's see, what do we got? Well, it's 19 now, so it's come up a little bit, thankfully. And we have a high today of around 30. So not ever going to get above freezing. This is harsh weather for people who are climatized to the Georgia weather. Having trouble talking this morning. I don't think I'll be burping my house today because, honestly, the heat pumps that I have are not designed to keep up with this kind of weather. And if I were to open the windows on the house, I don't think they'd shut off for, the next 24 hours. I have the auxiliary heat running anytime it gets below 35 degrees. I have it set to run at that point. So I've got heat strips that are actually probably doing more to keep the house warm than the heat pump. The house burping thing kind of caught my attention today, and I thought that was hilarious. So here's the thing, and here's why so many people find it hilarious for Georgia to shut down when we get these oddball ice storms. We don't have snow clearing equipment on the scale that, let's say, Pennsylvania and above have. States more northern than ours have to deal with this on a regular basis. We don't. And the idea that my state would consider buying more snow removal equipment for the 1 or 2 snowstorms we get a year, that's ridiculous. The amount of money they would have to spend to keep the roads clear would outweigh the amount that we lose by shutting down once or twice a year. I think they're doing it right. Let's continue to shut down when we have a mild snowstorm so people don't get killed and we can stay home and nobody has to get out on the treacherous roads that aren't treated with what do they use now? Liquid calcium or salt or anything like that. We don't need to do that. Our climate doesn't call for it, but maybe once or twice a year. So the investment in that kind of equipment is not called for. They are doing it right. Had a decent day yesterday. I had to use some equipment that I'm not used to. Oftentimes, as human beings, we have to step outside of our comfort zone, and it's amazing that the thought of using equipment I'm not familiar with can bring anxiety to me. The learning curve was very low for this. So I was able to, get it in hand very quickly. But the anxiety of not knowing the equipment, of not being familiar with it and having to use it in front of a customer, well, that was, it was real. It was inside me, and I had to deal with that. Once I used the equipment, which I had used before, but they had changed a little bit, I realized that this needs, well, number one, the equipment needs repairing. So I left a note for the management team to have the trailer, is what this equipment was, have it repaired. But it's kind of indicative of how everybody in life is. We go through life in our comfort zones, just kind of cruising through. I wake up in the morning, I go to work, I do the same job, I come home, I watch a TV show, and I hit the sack, and I do it over and over and over again until vacation. And on vacation, we leave our comfort zone. And I was talking to the wife yesterday or the day before. Days kind of run together sometimes. And we were talking about going to another country, that they have these all-inclusive vacation packages where you go to another country. And I told her the idea that a lot of people do is they get their whole family together and they go to another country and they rent a villa, and it's an all-inclusive thing where, and immediately she gave me pushback. She said, that doesn't make any sense. So you go to another country to have a sort of reunion with your family. While you're there, you just kind of do the same thing that you would do in your own country. And I had to admit, she had a point. The idea that we would pay thousands and thousands of dollars to stay in a different country. In this case, it was I think it was Puerto Rico, I told her. And the idea was that we would stay near the beach, which neither one of us are fans of. We'd both rather go to the mountains or go on a sightseeing trip or, ride motorcycles. But we're so addicted to our comfort zones that we shy away from anything that doesn't include our comfort zone. It occurred to me yesterday, maybe I've been in my comfort zone for too long lately. Now, it is 19 degrees. I'm not going to be standing outside, in a pair of swimming trunks and be out of my comfort zone like that. That's not what I'm talking about. But maybe it's time that I kind of broaden my horizon. And I'm even comfortable doing this podcast thing, which is in such high demand. There's at least 3 people that insist I continue doing it. I suppose this is the point where I'm supposed to say, please like and subscribe, but I really don't care. I'm not doing it for that. I'm just kind of having a little bit of fun. I am having fun doing this. Originally, it was definitely outside of my comfort zone. I think I'm I'm getting close to my 300th episode. So I've become very comfortable with this. I guess maybe it's time for me to look elsewhere to see if I can find something. I'm not going to discontinue doing this. I'm really enjoying this. But I may have to look to see what I can do outside of my comfort zone to broaden that, limiting horizon that we all put on ourselves. It's very difficult to break out of our comfort zones. It's very difficult my family's not huggers. So when we do hug, it usually it's number one, it's not comfortable. It's outside of our comfort zone. And number 2, it usually means something important is going on or happening, or we haven't seen someone in a while. But that's outside of our comfort zone. And it's things like that. That small of a thing can take you outside of your comfort zone. Ramblings. And I'm rambling today. Maybe we all need to step outside of our comfort zone a little bit. I guess I'll go downstairs and finish my cup of coffee and find out if I'm going to work today or not. I don't know if I'm working today. And I certainly don't know if you're working today. But if you are, I hope you go out and have a fantastic day. I hope that you find peace and someone to love and dream. Until next time, Lee Throat.